Question number 2. What is the philosopher's major contribution to Western legal thought? What are the main concepts contributed? While Cicero is currently not considered an exceptional thinker, largely based on the incorrect grounds of his philosophy is derived from the unoriginal. In previous centuries, he was considered one of the greatest philosophers of the ancient era, and he was widely read into in the 19th century. Cicero made his reputation as an orator in politics and in law courts, where he preferred appealing for the defense and generally spoke last because of his emotive powers. Unfortunately, not all his cases were as morally sound as the attack of the governor Caelius Gaius Verus, which was perhaps his most famous case. His influences. His philosophy had a political purpose, which was the defense and the possible improvement of Roman Republic. The politicians of his time, he believed, were corrupt and no longer possessed the virtuous characters that had been the main attribute of the Romans in earlier days of Roman history. This loss of virtue was, he believed, the cause of the Roman difficulties. He hoped that the leader of Rome, especially the Senate, would listen to his pleas and renew the Republic. This could only occur if the Roman elites chose to improve their characters, place commitments to the individual virtue and social stability ahead of their desire for fame, wealth, and power. Having done this, the elite would have enacted legislations and would force others to adhere to similar standards, and the Republic would flourish once again. Cicero, therefore, tried to use his philosophy to bring about his political goals. Like most intellectual endeavors in Cicero's time, philosophy was an activity which was very prominent in Greece and Athens especially. However, the Romans were more interested in the practical matters of law, governments, and military strategies than they were in philosophy and arts. But Cicero really used his philosophy effectively. He needed to make it accessible to the Roman audience. He did this by translating Greek into Latin words, including inventing Latin words where none seemed suitable for the Greek concepts. He also summarized in Latin the beliefs of primary Greek philosophical schools of the time. This would include the academic of skeptics, Peripatetics, and Stoics, and including the Epicureans. Cicero was also acquainted with all of these schools and had teachers in each and every one of them at the time of his life. He professed allegiance throughout his life to the academy. Cicero's importance in history of philosophy is of a transmitter of Greek thought. In the course of this role, he gave Rome, and therefore Europe, its philosophical vocabulary. The law. Cicero has laid out the law that would be followed for the ideal commonwealth described in the Republic. Finding the source of law and justice, he says, "What nature has given to humans, what a quantity of wonderful things the human mind embraces, for what sake performing and fulfilling what functions we are born and brought into this world, what serves to unite people, and what natural bonds there is between them." Philosophy teaches us that by the nature of human beings have reason to, that the reason enables us to discover the principles of justice, and that justice gives us law. This translates to that any valid law is rooted in nature, and therefore any law that is not rooted in nature is not a law at all. The gods also share in these reasons because they were seen as an influential part of the community of humanity. The gods were seen the role of caring for us, punishing and rewarding us as appropriately. Much of what remains of this dialogue is devoted to the law of religion. Duties. Cicero addressed the topic of duties, including both the final purpose of life, which defines our duties, and the way in which duties are performed. And he says that he will follow the Stoics area, but only in his judgments required. More explicitly, Cicero covers how to determine what is an honorable thing, and which of two honorable things is more honorable. Furthermore, how to determine what is expendite, and how to judge between two expendite things. And lastly, what to do when the honorable and the expendite things seem to conflict. Cicero asserts that they can only seem to conflict, but in reality they never do, as the honorable action is the expendite and vice versa. At the end of Cicero's life, he wrote a work that urges people to follow the nature of wisdom, along whatever political activity might still be possible, rather than seeking pleasure and indulgence. Cicero's political ideas. He had three prominent ones that I'll be covering today. Let's start with natural law. The body of Cicero's political philosophy is composed of three related elements: a belief of natural law,
Created using Powtoon.